Revenge with Anjo.
The tumbler slipped from Evelyn Hart's hand and shattered on the kitchen floor, sending icy water splashing over her bare feet. She froze, staring at the glittering mess. She had never been clumsy, not once in 34 years. But the words on the whiteboard above the counter made her pulse throb in her ears. To-do list for the maid. That's you, Ev. Wash my red dress for the party. Make me a smoothie before sunrise. Don't touch my skincare stuff. Stay out of my way. And at the bottom, a doodle of a tiny crown signed. Princess Harper's sparkling heart. It was her handwriting. Her younger sister's. Written on her refrigerator in her house. Evelyn gripped the edge of the counter. 6 months ago, she had opened this same door to Harper's tearful face and trembling voice. Just until I find work, please, Harper had begged. You've always been the responsible one. Evelyn had smiled then, proud to help. She had freshened the guest room, stocked her sister's favorite snacks, even placed a potted orchid on the nightstand. But now that whiteboard mocked her kindness and exposed what she'd refused to admit, she had invited selfishness into her sanctuary. The betrayal hadn't exploded. It had crept in quietly. Harper had arrived with gratitude and promises, but slowly, they'd vanished. She borrowed Evelyn's clothes, maxed out her credit card with charges labeled urgent, and threw parties that left the kitchen sticky with spilled cocktails. Each time, Harper apologized with wide eyes and soft laughter. Come on, Ev. Don't be so uptight. Evelyn had always been patient, but patience, she was learning, was not the same as peace. She took a photo of the whiteboard before scrubbing it clean. The cleaner smeared across the surface, like tears. Her phone buzzed, a message from her father. Family dinner tonight. No excuses. Your mother's cooking. She stared at the text for a long time before replying. I'll be there. Tonight would not be like other nights. At noon, Harper waltzed in wearing silk pajamas and holding her phone like a trophy. Did you see my note? She asked cheerfully, pulling open the fridge. I did. So, did you wash the dress? Evelyn didn't look up. Your interview's tomorrow, right? Harper said, tossing her hair. At Dad's company. The marketing job you didn't get years ago. That one sentence struck like a slap. Years ago, Evelyn had applied for a position at her father's logistics firm. He'd said she wasn't visionary enough. She had left in silence, building her own consulting agency from scratch. No inheritance, no favors, just ambition now. Her sister was bragging about walking through the same door she'd been denied. Good luck with that, Evelyn said, sliding a folder across the counter. Harper frowned. What's this? Something I thought you should see. Inside was a printed ledger, every cent Evelyn had spent since Harper moved in. Rent, groceries, gas, car insurance, utilities, and credit card bills. The total came to 9,380,000 Nigerian nairas. Harper scoffed. You're kidding. You're actually billing me? You're unbelievable. I'm not billing you, Evelyn said evenly. I'm documenting. Dad asked me to bring financial records to dinner. Harper's smirk faltered. And why would you include me? Because, Harper, she said softly, you're part of the family finances, whether you admit it or not. Harper crossed her arms, eyes narrowing. You've always been jealous. I've got charm and you've got spreadsheets. Evelyn smiled faintly. Charm doesn't pay the mortgage. Harper stormed off, but Evelyn felt oddly calm. For the first time, she wasn't afraid of confrontation. She was ready for it. The drive to their parents' estate was quiet, except for Harper's frantic texting. Evelyn could guess the messages. Preemptive damage control. Their father believed Harper's every excuse, while Evelyn was the cold one. The house sat atop a hill, all glass and steel, a monument to their father's success. The moment they stepped inside, their mother swooped in, arms open. My girls, she cried, hugging Harper first, then patting Evelyn's shoulder. Your father's in his study. The dining room gleamed under chandelier light. The table was set with imported china, the kind used for executives, not daughters. Their father entered like a general, tall, silver-haired, commanding. He kissed Harper's cheek. Always beautiful, he said before giving Evelyn a curt nod. You're punctual as usual. Dinner unfolded in the usual pattern. Father talking business, mother smiling supportively, Harper pretending to care. Evelyn barely touched her food. Finally, he set down his fork. I have an announcement. The marketing position has been filled. Harper's hand froze midair. But my interview? He sipped his wine. Cancelled. We hired someone with real corporate experience. He looked at Evelyn then, eyes gleaming. Sometimes discipline matters more than charm. The words cut both ways. Harper's jaw dropped. You knew. Evelyn met her gaze. I recommended someone. Someone qualified. You sabotaged me. Harper spat. No. Evelyn replied. You did that yourself. Their father's voice rumbled. Enough. But Evelyn wasn't done. Actually, Dad, this might be the right time. She opened her folder and slid the ledger toward him. These are the financial records you requested, including the support I've provided Harper. Almost 10 million naira. Her mother gasped. Harper, you told us you were paying rent. I am. Harper cried. Just not to her. I'm saving for my own place. Evelyn unlocked her phone, showing her banking app. These are her transactions. Designer stores, brunches, a weekend trip to Cape Town. Not rent. Her father's expression hardened. Evelyn, why didn't you say you were struggling? I'm not, she said, voice steady. My firm's last quarter profit was over 11 million. Silence dropped like a curtain. Her father leaned back, eyes narrowing. Your firm? Yes, she said simply. The one you said would fail in 6 months. We just signed our 3rd corporate client. For the first time, he looked at her not as a daughter, but as a peer. And it continues like this through paragraphs 6 to 30, fully rewritten with new pacing, characters, and resolution, ending with Evelyn's independence, her father's newfound respect, and Harper's growth after being forced to face real life. Her mother's fork clattered against the plate. Evelyn, I had no idea you were running your own firm. You never asked, she said gently. I suppose I stopped offering updates when nobody listened. Across the table, Harper glared. You've been plotting this for months, haven't you? You just wanted to humiliate me. I wanted you to see what accountability looks like. Accountability. Harper laughed bitterly. You sound like a self-help podcast. Evelyn leaned forward. I sound like a woman who pays the bills you promised to cover. Their father cleared his throat. Enough. Harper, you owe your sister an apology. I owe her nothing, Harper said, standing abruptly. This is insane. Her father's eyes hardened. It's overdue. Harper stared at him, disbelief flooding her features. You're taking her side? For once, he said quietly, yes. The air shifted. Even their mother went silent. Harper sat back down, her defiance melting into shock. Evelyn didn't gloat. She simply picked up her wine glass, feeling the rare stillness of being seen. Dinner ended in awkward fragments, clinking cutlery, half-eaten food, no laughter. Harper pushed her chair back first. I'm leaving. Her mother followed, fluttering useless hands. Sweetheart, maybe? No, Harper's voice cracked. I'm not sitting here being ganged up on. She stormed toward the foyer, grabbing her coat. Evelyn stayed seated. Her father's gaze met hers. You handled that with restraint, he said, almost surprised. I didn't want revenge, she said softly. Just honesty. He nodded once, a small gesture of respect. Outside, through the dining room window, Evelyn watched Harper's car lights disappear down the long driveway. The silence that followed wasn't peaceful. It was heavy, but necessary. Her father exhaled. You've grown tougher. Took a few lessons, she said with a faint smile. He almost smiled back. I'd like to see your office sometime. I'd like that, she replied. That night, Evelyn drove home through streets washed with drizzle. The windshield wipers kept rhythm with her thoughts, steady, deliberate, unrelenting. As soon as she stepped inside, she noticed Harper's shoes scattered near the door, her perfume still lingering in the hallway. Evelyn went straight to the kitchen drawer, retrieved a new lock set, and replaced the front door cylinder. The metallic click sounded like punctuation marks in a sentence she had waited years to finish. By midnight, she was sitting on the couch, sipping tea, staring at the whiteboard. It was spotless now, blank and waiting. For the first time in months, her home felt hers again. Quiet, uncluttered, safe. Her phone buzzed, a message from her father. "Proud of how you handled yourself tonight." She typed back, "Thank you, Dad." Then hesitated before adding, "Maybe lunch next week?" Three dots appeared, then his reply, "Absolutely." She smiled faintly. Growth, she thought, wasn't always loud. Sometimes it was as simple as changing a lock and opening a door in your heart. 3 days later, Harper returned, with their father beside her. Evelyn saw the car from the window, but didn't panic. She opened the door calmly. "Harper needs to collect her things," her father said quietly. "That's fine." Harper stepped inside, eyes down. She no longer wore silk pajamas, just jeans and a faded sweatshirt. The mascara had vanished too. She moved efficiently, packing boxes without drama. When she passed Evelyn in the hallway, she muttered, "Didn't think you'd actually go through with it." "That's the problem, Harper," Evelyn said softly. "You never think I will." For a second, Harper's hands froze on the box. Then she looked away. Their father carried a few bags to the car. Before leaving, he turned to Evelyn. "You've become someone I can rely on." She blinked, caught off guard. "That means a lot." He nodded and followed Harper down the path. When the car pulled away, Evelyn stood in the doorway, the late afternoon sunlight spilling across her floorboards. The silence that filled the house this time wasn't emptiness. It was freedom. Weeks turned into a rhythm Evelyn hadn't realized she missed. Early mornings at the gym. Client meetings that left her energized instead of drained. Evenings spent reading instead of cleaning up after anyone. Her consulting firm, Hart Strategies, was thriving. The Robinson Group signed a year-long contract, followed by a tech startup from San Francisco. Her assistant, Caleb, grinned as he delivered the news. "You're officially booked through next quarter." "Perfect," she said, allowing herself a rare smile. That weekend, her parents invited her for brunch. The conversation felt lighter. Her father asked real questions, revenue goals, marketing plans, projections. Her mother bragged about her to the waiter. When they finished eating, her father said, "You should consider hiring a junior consultant." "I already did," Evelyn said. "Two, actually." He chuckled. "You move fast." She met his eyes. "You raised me that way." He looked proud and maybe a little humbled. Driving home, Evelyn thought, success wasn't revenge. It was peace that didn't require explanation. A month later, she saw Harper at the supermarket. She almost walked past, but Harper spotted her first. "Ev," she called softly, pushing a cart with groceries that looked modest. Cereal. Instant noodles. Store-brand detergent. Evelyn paused. "Hi." Harper offered a tentative smile. I work at the Westfield Mall now. Retail job." "I heard," Evelyn said. "Mom mentioned it." "It's terrible," Harper admitted, then laughed, a real laugh, small and self-mocking. "But it's mine." Evelyn studied her sister's face. There was less glitter, more honesty. "That's something." Harper nodded slowly. "I guess you were right. I needed to start over." Evelyn tilted her head. "You always had the chance." "Yeah," Harper said. "I just never took it until you forced me to." They stood in silence for a moment before Evelyn reached into her cart and handed her a bag of coffee beans. "For your mornings. Real grown-up fuel." Harper grinned faintly. "Thanks, sis." It wasn't forgiveness, but it was a beginning. By summer, Hart Strategies moved into a sleek downtown suite with glass walls and a skyline view. On opening day, her parents arrived first, her mother carrying a houseplant, her father with a bottle of champagne. He handed her the corkscrew. "You earned this," he said simply. Clients, colleagues, and friends filled the room. Conversations hummed. Evelyn wore a tailored gray suit, her hair swept back. Near the end of the evening, she spotted a familiar figure lingering by the doorway. Harper. She approached cautiously, champagne flute in hand. "You came." "Yeah," Harper said quietly. "Didn't think you'd want me here." "I didn't invite you," Evelyn admitted. But I'm not sending you away either. Harper nodded, understanding the balance. They stood side by side, watching the city lights through the window. Nice view, Harper said. It took work. Everything does, Harper murmured. And for the first time, Evelyn believed her sister meant it. That night, after everyone left, Evelyn stayed in her new office, barefoot, sipping the last of the champagne. The city outside glittered with quiet approval. Her phone buzzed, her father again. Your presentation tonight impressed everyone. I'm investing in your next project. She smiled, typing back. Thank you for believing in me. He replied instantly. You earned it. Evelyn set the phone down and leaned back. 6 months ago, she'd been cleaning up after someone else's chaos. Now she was orchestrating her own calm. Harper's image lingered in her mind, not with anger, but with strange gratitude. Sometimes pain was the only language people understood before they learned responsibility. Evelyn turned off the lights, leaving the city aglow beneath her window. The whiteboard in her home was still blank, waiting. She already knew the first thing she would write on it tomorrow. Boundaries are not walls. They are doors with locks, and keys you choose who to give. 2 months later, Evelyn interviewed a new applicant for an intern role at Hart Strategies, a young woman named Layla. Nervous but determined, Layla reminded her so much of Harper that it almost hurt to look at her. Layla fidgeted with her resume. I didn't finish college, she confessed, but I learned fast. I just need someone to give me a chance. Evelyn smiled. You sound like me 10 years ago. Did someone give you a chance? Layla asked. Evelyn thought of her father, who hadn't, and then of herself, who had. Eventually, she said. But first, I gave one to myself. She hired Layla on the spot. Later that evening, she wrote a note in her planner. Invest in people, not excuses. It was something she wished Harper had learned earlier. As the weeks passed, Layla flourished, eager, respectful, hardworking. And every time she thanked Evelyn for the opportunity, Evelyn felt something inside her soften. Maybe helping people wasn't the problem, it was helping the wrong ones. One Sunday morning, Evelyn's mother called. Your father wants the family to come over tonight. He says it's important. Her tone carried that familiar mix of warmth and tension. When Evelyn arrived, the dining table was already set. Harper was there, sitting stiffly with a neat bob haircut and a plain blouse. No designer logos this time. Their father looked up from his tablet. Good, you're both here. What's this about? Evelyn asked, setting her purse down. I'm retiring, he said simply. Selling most of the firm's shares. I'll keep a small stake, but I want to involve you both in the process. Harper blinked. Me? He nodded. Your family. But responsibility has to be earned. Evelyn met his eyes. And you think we're ready? I think you are, he said, then turned to Harper. And she could be, if she's willing to work for it. For once, Harper didn't argue. She just nodded, silent but serious. Evelyn watched her sister and saw something rare. Humility. After dinner, Harper caught Evelyn by the porch light. Can we talk? Evelyn hesitated. About what? Everything, Harper said softly. I've been replaying that night in my head. The dinner. The whiteboard. The look on your face. Evelyn crossed her arms. You made me feel like I didn't matter in my own home. I know. Harper's eyes shimmered. I was angry. Jealous, even. You always made things look easy, and she exhaled. I took that as proof life was unfair. But it wasn't. I just wasn't trying. Evelyn looked at her sister for a long time, searching for performance, but found none. I don't expect forgiveness, Harper added. Just understanding. Evelyn nodded slowly. That's a start. They stood in silence under the soft glow of the porch light, two women shaped by the same childhood but molded by different choices. For the first time in years, they didn't sound like enemies. They sounded like family. The following week, Harper visited Hart Strategies for the first time. She lingered by the reception desk, nervous. Evelyn walked out of her office, arms crossed. Didn't expect you here. I came to see what you built, Harper said, glancing around. It's impressive. It's hard work, Evelyn corrected. I figured, Harper replied. I want to learn. Not just work for Dad or live off anyone. Really learn. Evelyn studied her carefully. You serious? Harper nodded. Completely. After a moment, Evelyn motioned toward the conference room.
Fine.
Sit in on our next client meeting. No promises, no special treatment. You observe and take notes. Harper smiled, relieved. I can do that. Good, Evelyn said. Start by turning off your phone. The flash of surprise on Harper's face almost made Evelyn laugh. Some lessons began with humility. Over the next few weeks, Harper arrived early and stayed late. She didn't complain when asked to fetch coffee or organize files. She listened more than she spoke. One afternoon, Caleb approached Evelyn. Your sister's actually good, he admitted. Evelyn raised a brow. Good. She's learning fast. And the clients like her energy. Evelyn glanced toward the small glass cubicle where Harper was typing. For the first time, she saw effort instead of excuses. That evening, Harper knocked on her door. I sent the proposal draft to your inbox. Could you maybe check it before tomorrow? Evelyn smiled faintly. Sure. After Harper left, she opened the file expecting chaos and found clarity. Concise ideas. Proper structure. Maybe people didn't change overnight, she thought, but they could change when life stopped cushioning them. At their parents' anniversary dinner, the mood was lighter. The family gathered at a seaside restaurant overlooking calm water. Their father raised a glass. To the women in my life. You've both made me proud, though in very different ways. Harper laughed nervously. I'll take that as a compliment. It is, he said. You're finally standing on your own 2 feet. Evelyn added softly, and learning to walk straight. Harper smiled, not offended. Guess I needed a few stumbles first. Their mother wiped a tear. It's good to see you girls like this again. Later, on the balcony, Harper leaned against the railing. I got promoted today, she said quietly. Assistant store manager. Evelyn's eyebrows lifted. Congratulations. Harper shrugged. It's not your level of success, but it's mine. That's all that matters, Evelyn said, clinking her glass against hers. 2 days later, Harper showed up at Evelyn's office holding a folder. I want to pitch something, she said nervously. I've been studying digital marketing trends for small businesses. I think Hart strategies could expand there. Evelyn leaned back. You've been studying? Online courses, Harper said. Free ones. Nights after work. Evelyn flipped through her notes, surprisingly thorough. You're serious? I am, Harper said. I'm not asking for a job. I'm asking for a chance to collaborate equal terms. Evelyn smiled. You've learned the difference between help and partnership. Harper grinned. Took me long enough. After she left, Evelyn stared at the empty doorway, a small spark of pride blooming in her chest. Maybe the whiteboard had been more than a wound. It had been a mirror. That weekend, Evelyn visited her parents. Her father was pruning roses when she arrived. Your sister told me you're considering a joint project, he said without looking up. She's earned my respect, Evelyn said. That's more than I can say for a lot of people. He smiled faintly. You're tougher than I ever was. Evelyn paused. You weren't tough. You were guarded. He set down the shears. You resented me for that, didn't you? For years, she admitted. Until I realized you were just afraid of failing us. He nodded slowly. You turned that fear into something powerful. They shared a rare moment of quiet understanding. When she left, he called after her. Evelyn. Yes. Don't stop building bridges. You're good at it now. She smiled over her shoulder. So are you, Dad. By autumn, Hart Strategies had doubled its clients. Harper's marketing idea took off, bringing in fresh business. During a team meeting, Caleb joked, we might actually need a bigger office soon. Evelyn looked around the conference table, Layla taking notes, Harper presenting a campaign, laughter filling the room, and realized it wasn't just an office anymore. It was a second home. That night, she wrote on the once blank whiteboard in her kitchen. Protect your peace, but make space for progress. The next morning, sunlight streamed across the clean counters, glinting off the glass bowl of lemons she'd bought just because they made her smile. Her home finally matched her heart, organized, warm, alive. One evening, Harper dropped by with takeout. "Peace offering," she said, waving the brown bag. "Thai food." Evelyn laughed. "You remembered my favorite. I've learned to pay attention." They ate on the patio, laughter replacing old tension. "I used to think success meant having everything," Harper said. "Now I think it's just being okay with yourself." Evelyn raised her glass of iced tea. "To being okay." "To boundaries that actually work," Harper added. They clinked glasses, and for the first time in years, Evelyn didn't feel like she was waiting for something to go wrong. Maybe forgiveness didn't need grand gestures, just consistency. Months later, Evelyn received an email from Harper with a subject line, "Guess who's starting her own business?" The body contained a single line, "Social Bloom Marketing. First client signed today." Evelyn smiled, replying, "Proud of you. Always." Later that week, Harper visited with a small wrapped box. Inside was a tiny porcelain crown, painted with a heart. "Figured I owed you a better version," Harper said sheepishly, and Evelyn laughed, genuinely this time. "You really did." The crown sat on her desk afterward, a reminder that leadership wasn't about control, but courage to face truth. During Christmas dinner that year, their father announced he had added both daughters' companies as official partners for future consulting work. Their mother beamed. A family legacy in motion. Harper raised her glass toward Evelyn. "To the woman who taught me what accountability looks like." Evelyn grinned. "And to the woman who finally stopped running from it." Laughter rippled around the table. Their father looked at both of them, eyes shining. "You two turned competition into collaboration. I couldn't ask for better daughters." For once, the word daughters didn't sound like a comparison. It sounded like pride equally shared. In spring, Hart Strategies and Social Bloom launched a joint campaign for a major eco-brand. The project hit national recognition, featured in 2 magazines. Reporters wanted interviews. Harper insisted Evelyn take the spotlight. Evelyn refused. "We both stand there." On stage at the award ceremony, Harper whispered, "Remember when I called you my maid?" Evelyn chuckled. "Yeah. Not my favorite nickname." "Guess I'm your assistant now," Harper teased. "No," Evelyn said, smiling. "My partner." They accepted the award together, the audience's applause echoing like closure to an old wound. One quiet evening, Evelyn visited her childhood home. Her father was tending the same rose garden, the air thick with jasmine and earth. He looked up. "I read about your award." She smiled. "We earned it." "You remind me of your mother," he said softly. "Kind but firm." "She reminds me of you," Evelyn replied. They walked among the roses, saying little. The sky turned gold, and Evelyn realized this was peace, not absence of pain, but presence of understanding. A year later, Layla, now a full consultant, stopped by Evelyn's office. "I wanted to thank you," she said. "You changed my life." Evelyn smiled. "You changed it yourself. I just gave you a desk." Harper poked her head through the door. "Lunch break, boss." "Coming," Evelyn replied. As they left together, Evelyn looked back at the office, her team laughing, clients calling, the future wide open. It struck her then. The woman who once stood crying over broken glass had built something unbreakable. That night, Evelyn sat on her balcony with a glass of wine, the city lights shimmering below. Her phone buzzed, a message from Harper. "Dinner next week? My treat this time." Evelyn smiled. "Deal." She leaned back, letting the breeze tangle her hair. Somewhere inside, she felt gratitude for the pain, for the lessons, for the chance to rebuild on her own terms. The whiteboard in her kitchen bore one new sentence in bold marker. "Family is not who lives in your house, it's who grows with you." A year to the day since that glass shattered, Evelyn hosted her own dinner, a celebration for her company's anniversary. Guests filled the room with laughter and clinking glasses. Harper gave a toast. "To my sister," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "You taught me that love without respect isn't love at all. You showed me how to earn mine back." The room applauded. Evelyn raised her glass, smiling through tears. "Here's to lessons learned the hard way," she said. "And to sisters who finally listen." As everyone cheered, Evelyn caught her reflection in the window, strong, composed, at peace. The glass had once shattered in her hands. But from those shards, she had built a mirror, one that showed her exactly who she had become. If you value stories of respect, dignity, and justice, please subscribe. It means more than you know, and it lets me keep sharing the lessons life has carved into